I'm here with Mark McKenzie from Cosborough. Mark, great to meet you today. We really had some fun with you on one of the tables, but tell us about your role. You've been a huge fan and supporter of the games over a number of journeys.
Yeah, the games have really been a way for small business to engage with the innovation agenda. One of the things that happened earlier on as I was Cosborough Chair is that the government was actually saying to us, how can they get small business more engaged with innovation? Now, for a lot of small businesses, I mean, they effectively run the show, so if they're not there, the show doesn't operate.
Yep.
They're the IT person, they're the HR person, they're the chief strategist, the key marketer.
Yep.
And so there's always been a bit of a challenge of how do we actually get them genuinely engaged in innovation.
Yep.
These games provide a real opportunity to do that in a very tightly focused framework.
Yeah.
And so that's why we've been a massive supporter of these games.
Fantastic. And it's not just a supporter, you're hands-on too, which I love watching you in action. So, have you been doing it at all those games?
Been at the first, right through to the last. We've been going for 5 years.
Yeah.
Haven't been at every one of them. We've
Yeah.
shared them around our other directors, and that's
Yeah.
been an important part of the engagement of Cosborough.
Yeah.
But I think it's personally because I believe that innovation is key to the success of any small business.
Yeah.
We tend to think of innovation as being the realm of the techs and the unicorns, the bright young things that are coming through.
Yeah.
And that's true. Or we tend to think of them as big corporates that are actually tending to shift their operation. But for a small business to survive, they've got to continually adapt. And particularly in this environment with COVID and natural disasters, the capacity to be able to pick yourself up off, that's an emotional investment around wellbeing. But after that, it's about looking at what you're currently doing, finding better ways of actually doing that, keeping what you need to keep, but changing what you need to change. And that fundamentally is the essence of innovation.
Absolutely. Today's all about sustainability. We're talking about the fashion, textile sector, where I know you cover so many sectors and you've got a whole bunch of experience across many roles. How do you see sustainability going forward, and how do you bring that into an innovation space?
I think sustainability at the moment is still a community aspiration. So, when we start to talk about things like the circular economy and sustainability tracing, there still is a lot of debate about how far can you practically go without getting into greenwashing and those other elements. So for me, the agenda today has very much been about pushing the boundaries of what that actually looks like in a commercial framework. And there's been some really good conversations about, what's possible now. It's certainly moved on a lot, say from just 3 years ago, notwithstanding, I suppose, the handbrake that was put on us by COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. And with, looking at your role in Cosborough, you've got a great vision, I suppose, or I should say the voice of small business. You've got that experience where, I love the way you talked about big businesses have got a different spin on innovation. And for many of us in small business, myself included, you see some of these startups or the stuff on the movies or TVs where you get these rare unicorns who just get, rocket ship launches. But, there's a lot of hard work, really, nose to the grind type stuff. And this support is invaluable.
Yeah, I think less than 0.5% of all business startups end up being, I suppose, those that take off, or unicorns, even less so. But the key challenge, as we all know in small business, is it's a tough, hard slog.
Yep.
I got a bit of advice when I first went into small business some years ago in consulting that sort of said, first year you'll lose a limb, second year you'll lose another limb, third year you'll lose the rest, and then the fourth year you should start to get enough to be able to afford your first prosthetic.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that sort of sums it up. For small business, most people get into small business because they're passionate about something, and they follow their dream. But for them, it's really about charting their own destiny. That comes at a cost though, because you've really got to make sure that you're looking after your mental well-being. But the key challenge that I found moving from big corporate to small business was you're it. There's, you don't have a lot of other people to talk to. These sorts of forums provide an opportunity for you to engage with your peers, and in this particular case, to engage with some of the young and emerging talent that's coming through that really challenges your notions of the way you're running your business.
And as well as access people like yourself. I mean, I know your skill set, again, I observed that and was lucky to be part of a small part of it. Your supply chain skill set, especially after the disruptions and the whole supply chain turned on its head, to access some of your knowledge, just to get that ideas bouncing around those tables, is phenomenal.
I'll give you the $100 later on for that, Tim. But no, seriously, it is an opportunity where we all come together, and certainly I can bring a series of skills and experience in supply chain, but I've learned a lot about tech, the objectivity of gamification, what can actually happen, and the challenges that are happening in the fashion sector, fashion and textile. And there's a huge opportunity here in South Australia in that space.
Yeah.
So, as you say, it's a case of you're bringing people with slightly different backgrounds and you're getting this cross-fertilisation of ideas, which is just invaluable.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on ongoing support and the great contribution we're making to all those teams today.
Oh, pleasure talking with you. It's always good to talk about small business and innovation.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mark.